Salve, Chapter 44, Oxford Latin Course. Let's look at conditional statements, that is, sentences that begin with if. Conditional sentences or statements usually have two parts, and those two parts have wonderful names that come from the Greek. The first or the before part of a condition, sometimes called the see clause, because it contains the word see, has a fancy name. It's called the protasis, and that pro means before. The second clause is called the apodosis, the one that is given after. If I smell pizza, this part comes before, so it's the protasis. I am hungry. Second clause, apodosis, given after. Simple or general conditions are those that in Latin will have an indicative verb. If I smell pizza, I am hungry. I see some present tense verbs there. If Quintus works all day, he is tired. More present tense verbs. If I run 10 miles, I will be tired. Here's a future verb. Formula. Si or nisi. Nisi is if not, plus an indicative verb, which creates the protasis, followed by an indicative verb in the apodosis. Si Quintus totum diem laborat, fessus est. If Quintus works for the whole day, he is tired. Another set of conditions is the future conditions, of which the first is called future more vivid. In a future more vivid condition, look for a protasis, remember, the first clause that begins with si or nisi, plus a future or future perfect, and an apodosis with a plain old future verb. Si Quintus in horto sede bit, Carmen scribet. Si Quintus in horto sederit, Carmen scribet. Both of these sentences can be translated, if Quintus sits in the garden, he will write a poem. So in English, we're going to translate both the future and the future perfect tense as in English present tense. The future perfect has a slightly more emphatic meaning. So we then, if you see a protasis with a future perfect verb, we say that it is an emphatic protasis. If he will have sat is what's behind that, if he sits. The second group of future conditions is called future less vivid conditions. These are sometimes called should, would conditions. If I should go to the forum, I would buy many things. Can you hear the element of uncertainty in that statement? And surprise, we're looking for si or nisi plus the present subjunctive followed by a present subjunctive. Should, would. The next large group of conditions are called contrary to fact conditions, of which there are two kinds. Present contrary to fact. Si Caesar ad esset, praeses esset. If Caesar were here, but he isn't, he would be president. Formula for a present contrary to fact condition, si or nisi, plus an imperfect subjunctive, followed by an imperfect subjunctive. And we can see both of those in the example sentence. The second kind of contrary to fact condition is called past contrary to fact condition. If Caesar had been here 6 months ago, but he was not, he would have been president. Formula, si or nisi plus a pluperfect subjunctive, followed by a pluperfect subjunctive. Si Caesar ad fuisset ab hinc sex menses, Prices fut is set. So in the first clause, in the protasis clause, the C clause, when you see a pluperfect subjunctive, you're still translating it as if it were a pluperfect indicative. The change you'll see is in the apodosis. If Caesar had been here 6 months ago, he would have been president. How do you recognize a condition? The number one clue to a conditional sentence is si or nisi, if or if ... not. Once you recognize the tenses and moods of the verbs in the protasis, the C clause or the first clause, the verb in the second clause, which is also called the apodosis, will follow. Subjunctive verbs in the protasis will be translated according to their tense. Present tense, if he should; imperfect, if she were; and pluperfect, if he had. That's it right now for conditions.